All right, so today what we're going to be doing for lot organization basically is we have a whole bunch of concrete cylinders and concrete stuff designed for like wastewater that somebody else, previous tenant, left, and we are going to put all that into a dumpster and then go from there. So we're going to use the big heavy machinery, and I mean, this isn't heavy, this is just a skid steer, but we are going to use a big forklift, get some stuff organized, get some stuff cleaned out, and go from there. So if you got a toddler who loves to watch some big machinery, here we go. Or a toddler at heart, I guess. Oh, that's cold. Okay, all right, this thing I'm gonna do right now, this piece of machinery is limited to its capacity of what it can lift. So this can only lift 2,000 pounds, and the challenge comes with lifting with this piece of concrete is the more it extends further away from the mass of the machine, it changes the leverage and how much it actually weighs to the machine, because the further out it is, the more weight it actually is. I'm sure there's like a physics thing that can talk about that, but the leverage of this piece of machinery, the further out it goes, the less it can handle. So what I'm going to show you real quick is I'm going to extend out the bucket, and what's going to happen with me extending out the bucket is the back wheels are going to lift up and the skid will tilt forward, because the leverage and the weight of the item that I'm trying to lift that's further away is now greater than the weight of the mass of the machine, and it'll tilt me forward like a teapot. So I thought I should show that, because one of the things with heavy machinery, and anytime you're doing anything that's like fun or adventurous or whatnot, is that you have to understand the limitations of whatever you're doing, whatever you're riding on, whatever, like say you're using ropes or doing climbing or using a four-wheeler or even riding a bike or a skateboard. You need to know the limitations of whatever that piece of equipment that you are using. It's not always called equipment, but it is equipping you to do something that you normally can't do by yourself. So that is part of this, and the mechanics of understanding. If you have a mind that thinks mechanically, majority of the time, if you have a mechanical mind, your mind automatically calculates this. Not everyone has that ability to automatically calculate the mechanics of anything that they're doing. Sometimes they need help. Sometimes they need to understand. Sometimes it needs to be reframed. So I thought this is a great opportunity to show that for you. So here we go. See the back wheels? See the back wheels go up? Okay, so the other thing that you have to know when you're using equipment is that, and knowing its limitations, is knowing when not to use it. This next cylinder is a larger diameter, thus meaning more concrete. The width of the cylinder is probably about the same, but because there's more mass and a bigger diameter, then the weight is different. And that, I was already maxing out the capacity of that skid steer, and the capacity matters, right? I have put myself at too high a risk multiple times trying to use something that wasn't designed for the intent that I had for it. And so we're gonna switch to this other large scale forklift that can easily lift this thing, and it won't be a big problem for it at all. The challenge that comes with that, the new challenge, is that the new challenge makes it so that it doesn't maneuver as easily. So I have to operate it in a different manner and be able to load it in a different manner into this dumpster. So it's just, anytime you use a new tool, it has a new set of like rules and things that it has to live by. And I'm not talking about the rules that people say that you should listen to. I'm talking about the actual rules of it. That if you choose to break those rules, it will teach you that it's not allowed to do that. And the larger the machinery, the more detrimental and even life-taking it can be, right? I mean, if you want to know the effectiveness of a pen, you just need to watch a Jason Bourne video. Okay. Oh, that's the key. I put the key in my hand and then I dropped the key, and the reason that I made sure that I drove and I didn't take this is because this is a, like, here we go. Let's see if I can ride upside down. Smile, you can't really see it, but that's how they mark the roads. Okay. I move all this stuff so that it wouldn't be in the way of the skid, but I did want to save this metal and save this for a block. All right, let's get this big. Why are you not? Okay, what's going on right now is that this machine is working in reverse, but it is not working in forward. So when you have older pieces of machinery, they usually have what are called quirks, or things that are off slightly and require finesse or mechanical understanding to just test things. The last time that I drove this, I needed it wasn't working properly, so then I added hydraulic fluid and it worked just fine. I don't see a leakage of hydraulic fluid underneath it where it was parked, so I don't quite understand why it's not working at this moment. So it makes me wonder if you want to come and I'll show you this like forward and reverse. So this machine operates differently than the skid steer. It's under the same company, but this has a forward, which is supposed to engage into forward and then reverse, right? So it has 4 gears, which like this thing goes into the 4 gears, right? So that's first, second, overs, third, and then fourth. Now, I'm not hearing it engage. I'm trying to rev it up to see if it'll like catch. So now I'm gonna start testing assumptions, testing what I don't fully understand why it isn't working, right? And without like taking mechanically apart, can I adjust something in this concoction of things to make it work properly? So that's what you're gonna witness me do, is see if I can figure out if it's first or second that engages better, or third or fourth, and get it going from there. Okay, what just happened is that I shifted it down from fourth to second to try to get it to go. It wouldn't go. Then I shifted it from second to first. And so what I wonder is, I don't know if it's a transmission issue, that it's something down here, or if it's the lever that controls this that activates when it will go and it won't go, right? Like, is this thing, this has a lot of what you would call play in it. It moves around a lot. And the way that mechanical or even electrical systems work is usually there's some sort of sensor, something to signify to the motor that it is like, that instead of it going like this, a gear spinning and another gear spinning like this with teeth, you know, is it where it's like not engaging? And then if you get it in the right spot, then all of a sudden it engages, because what just happened is it engaged and then it disengaged. So it was moving and then it stopped, which is like an indication that something needs to get fixed or changed. But today I'm not on a, like, I don't want to fix or change this. What I want is I want it to just work. And when you want something to just work is where the mentality leads to that, have people, we're in the flight of an airplane, I'll just wait. There's an airport and we get to see all the planes coming in and out, including Air Force One every once in a while. So it engaged, disengaged. If you want the mentality, if you want to have things that just work, is why companies sell old pieces of machinery and buy brand new ones. I don't use this machine that often to make it justify, so I'll deal with a used piece of machinery that has quirks. So we're gonna see if we can get this a gauge again, but that's where we're at. And right now, that's gotta be a neutral. All right, this is very heavy. This thing is like, this is putting this machine through the paces. It's not necessarily like, it's not that it can't do this, it's that it can do this. Now, this next part of setting this down, I don't have extendable forks. There are machines that have forks that can extend out further and then sit down and pull out their forks. This is not the standard operation for a forklift like this. A forklift is designed to move systematized items like shipping containers or pallets or things that are loaded onto pallets. Our systems of shipping and shipping lanes have all been standardized so that it'll fit within a box, basically, different boxes of different types. This is not a box. So this next part of setting this down all the way is very hard and very cautious, because I don't want to smash or destroy or damage this dumpster. It's not that it's the prettiest dumpster, I don't got to worry about that. But this next part is that I need to set it down as low as the fork can and then it's gonna slam. It might break, but it just is what it is. So that's this next part. Oh, it's got to be in neutral. What the hell? I got the brake on. There we go. What's that hanging on? Oh, just the lip? Okay. Huh? No. All right. Should I have just set that down? Or no, hold on. I think this part is really cool, okay? And I think this part's really cool because if a normal operator, it depends on someone's skill of operating a tool, how creative you can be. Adam Savage has a book, and I love the title of the book. I haven't read it. Sorry, Adam. But the title of the book is Anything's a Hammer If You're Brave Enough, right? So the limitations of the tool of this, it's not a skid loader. The operations of this forklift, heavy duty forklift, I've reached its limitations, but if I'm creative enough to get that, see that beveled edge at the end so that the pipe can fit with the other pipe, if I do what I'm doing now, which is come from the side, lift it up, and I shift the whole machine, will it drag it over enough so that it'll sit nicely to pack it in? So when you're watching an operator, you're watching somebody use any tool, including AI, including all of these other things, how effective are they at adapting the use of the tool in a creative way to solve the problem that they're facing? I've faced the limitation of where this forklift and what it could do, and now I'm shifting to using it kind of in the right way, but not fully, to be able to move this over now. Because what you're gonna watch now is I'm gonna set this in, and then it won't be hanging over that lip on the other side. So. All right. Okay, now we get a good example of the limitations of leverage with this piece of machinery. I'm trying to lift up 2, which is not what I initially wanted to do, but if you look, this back wheel completely off the ground. So what we have going on currently is that the mass of the weight of this, plus the distance it is away from the motor and the heavy part of this machinery that makes it so that it has like leverage and can lift heavier things, we have now exceeded it, and it is lifting up the back end. So if I start this and I try to lift this more, this will continue to lift up until it finds its either perfect balance point or the balance point is disrupted and it'll go one of 2 ways. So at this point, what I'm probably gonna do is see if I can back up a hair and see if I can get one of these things, not one of the concrete cylinders not holding on, so that I can then just grab one and put that at the top of that over there. Also, okay, this is a good, see how it didn't start? It's not that this motor doesn't want to run. It's that there's a starting solenoid and it is faulty. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Since I didn't want to order a part and I was trying to get something fixed, then I made this right here, this little switch right next to it. And this little switch is a hot wire that runs to that solenoid to hot wire it, and then I hot wired it to the battery. So if you look on the inside, you see that I have a wire attached directly to the battery that takes the 12 volts required and runs it to that, and then I have it going to this switch. So when I turn the switch on, it's hot wired now. So now I'll sit down and I'll go to press start. Starts right up. And let's see. All right, now the hot wire's done. It's running the circuit. We're good to go. So if I keep lifting, see that? Me continuing to lift and it lifting here and not there means that that mass is larger than the mass of this machine. And so that's the delicate balance you have to use using any piece of machinery. Here comes another plane. All right. Okay, switch. All right. Okay. Currently, you can see the piece of concrete bouncing a little bit. It's not, I don't have majority of the weight closest to the forklift as far as the mass of the weight. It is slightly over this, but it's still at a balance point. I have chosen as the operator not to completely go as deep with the forks as I possibly can, because I had a problem when I did that with the last cylinder. So I am actively adjusting the way that I operate this forklift for the use that I'm using it for, and adjusting to make things smoother for me. That this is part of my normal process. My brain automatically does it. It already does the calculations. And so now I know that instead of focusing on doing the second adjustment that I did before, I am now going to be very careful as I drive it to make sure that this machine is smooth movement, so that I don't tip the balance point forward and that concrete cylinder fall off. So it's all active calibrations of using a piece of equipment, which is why it takes someone who's mechanically inclined to be a very good operator. There is so much active calculations that you have to do that affect so many other things. Like right now in the situation that I'm in a constrained environment where I am working with a very big piece of machinery, and I have to be very careful of where the extension of this piece of machinery is compared to me, and actively be paying attention to the person who's recording this video right now and some of the other members of my team who are coming up and might want to talk to me. I have to pay attention to all of that and be aware as I try to accomplish the task that I'm trying to do. Okay, we got a problem. And I want to like illustrate this problem. The current problem is that the other part of being an operator or using any sort like of tool like this is that generally you are not the person who is part of the whole system. Generally you are part of a section of the system. So right now I am part of the section of cleaning up these abandoned materials that were left by somebody else. And then I am part of loading them up to get transported to either some creative outlet or for it to go to a recycling center where they take concrete like this and they crush it up and make road base for roads. And I have to think about the person that is going to be using a different piece of equipment to transport this. So when you see this and you pan out, like what I see from this angle, if you want to come from this side, and like I don't know if you can stand on the wheel and then pick your best angle. So what I see from this angle is that the mass of this cylinder is above any sort of limitation or structure from the dumpster that would prevent it from like falling out. So which means that it has a higher likability or a higher chance of that cylinder falling off. And I don't necessarily like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this cylinder off. I just put it on. I'm going to take it off because what I can observe is that the other cylinder that's over there is a smaller diameter and will fit and nestle in safer. I care about the safety of others, not just the equipment operator who's going to drive this to the crushed aggregate place, but also the fact that that driver's gonna have to drive on the road, and it could be anybody behind them that this falls. And when you operate equipment, when you drive vehicles, when you drive pieces of equipment, there is an inherent responsibility to okay, now we have a conundrum. If we come and look at this, I could technically fit one more piece, one more tube if it's small enough right there. The last one that I moved is not small enough. So then I know that there's more stuff out here, but is it actually accessible? So there is some stuff buried, but I don't know if it's accessible easily. There also is a chance that we run into either raccoons or feral cats in here. And I want to be cautious of that because I don't want to kill them. But you can see if you come up and look, where something consistently beds down, there's digging that happens, and then something is bedding down in the sun because it's out of the wind. And there's tunnels and stuff that are dug into it. And what is about to happen is that I'm going to use the skid steer, come in here and shake it out and get all the rocks and whatnot out and concrete out to also take it to that concrete aggregate place. So, hey, I found yeah. So, when I started making sculptures, we were doing a job and a guy had 17 broken shovel heads like this inside of a milk crate, and I saved them. And I did a whole series on owls. So anytime I make these into owls, I cut off this part and then I make different owls with different personalities and stuff, and absolutely love it. So that is about, so anytime I see one, I save one. So I'm saving this one. Okay. What I think I'm gonna do first is see if the truck that's gonna take that dumpster, if they can even pick it up. Because what that means I'll have to do is I'll have to help them with this, help them with the forklift, lift it up. And then if we can lift that up and go run that, then we can keep working. So we're gonna see, the last shot might be of them picking that up for the day, and then potentially getting back to this at another time. But that's what we got so far. Or shifting to, if that goes and gets run, then getting into the next thing. One of the next things I wanted to do is move those two truck frames on top of that. So that's what we got. Jermail, how you doing?
All right.
You ready to try to pick this up?
You think it will?
I think I can get it up with helping with this, but I don't think it can get up normally. Those are heavy. Like, it lifted the back end of this when I put two of them on it. So
But they're hollow.
I know.
But probably still heavy.
It is, yes. Like, I'm a little worried.
You got 4 up in there? Yeah.
Yeah, worst case, I'll take that top one up and out. I did have the idea, I bought that attachment to do post holes, those skinnier ones in there. I was thinking, how cool would it be to bury one of them and make it look like a Mario pipe coming out the ground.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I thought that would be really cool.
Green?
Yeah, paint it green. Put a nice like base coat primer on it and then paint it like green.
That'd be funny.
Should we do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, but where would we put it? Where would we put it?
Somewhere in front of the office.
That'd be really sweet to put it like right in, like to the left of the door.
I wasn't thinking like in front.
In front, but like
the parking lot.
Yeah, but where in the parking lot would we put it?
Or right in front of the door.
The right, yeah, like right to the left, and to do like it would take your motorcycle parking spot, so I don't necessarily want to do that, but it would be cool to have the other thought is that I've seen to do public works, to get artwork in public works, you basically need something that fits within like a 3-foot square, and then you want vertical. So I thought it would be really cool to make a tall vertical thing, and on the top of it do a metal version of like one of the Mario characters.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that gets into like trademark and copyright infringement, or so I'd have to look that up. But I could do a artistic rendition. I could make a samurai version of a Mario or something. Wouldn't that be something?
I mean, people create stuff all the time.
I know, but as long as you don't sell it in matte, I don't know.
Like watermarks or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. You want to get the truck and try? Okay, you do that because if it's driving down the road and this does stay on it, then those are the pieces that fly off and break your windshield. So. You gonna grab the truck? Tell Craig, have Craig, huh? I asked Craig already if you, about doing that, if he wanted to do it, but you have more experience. Means I got to turn. Okay. All right, well, in the interim, I need to move that pipe back out of the way if I want to put the stuff on top of that. The other conundrum about putting these on top of that is that I need a piece of wood that goes across on the back side, which I can put on real quick. Okay. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, bum, bum. All right, this piece of wood is going to help distribute the weight of those frames from not sitting on this back door of this. Now, I switched the wood because if you look at the end of the wood, more than half of the wood is gone, which means that it doesn't have the same structural integrity as this section of wood. So I flipped it around and I only want just a piece hanging off on that because I don't want that to interfere with when I set this frame on it. So yeah, I want the heavier end on that end and the light end on this end. Okay. That actually might work right where it's at. All right, let's do that while we wait. Another thing, the way that I look at life is like, how can I be effective in the interim? Because right now, that part I have to wait on for another person. So I'm gonna do something else that I already wanna know that I wanna make sure I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna move this back out of the way so that I can get that first and set it up there. All right. Okay, what's going on right now is that this is kind of a hard thing to pick up. You don't want to damage the frame, you don't want to damage the stuff that's on it. And so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to wrap a chain around the frame and then lift it up and then set it down, and then I can take the chain's going to give me the ability to lift it without damaging it. So now I just got to attach a chain, and attaching a chain is, you think, really easy, but the way that you do it super matters and can change, like affect so many things. Chains are, when you do what's called rigging, is when you use a chain you are rigging up something, and with that rig you're trying to lift things, and you need a very skilled eye, and you have to be paying attention, and safety super matters, because if a chain is load bearing improperly, when a chain breaks or lets loose, it does extreme damage. This isn't necessarily one of those opportunities where it has like 20 tons of kinetic energy and rips, right? Because that's not what this is, but it is something that I do want to talk about if I'm using a chain. There are right and wrong ways to use chains and rigging, and I do not want to be in a situation where I have chosen poorly. Okay, so first thing I want to talk about is that where this sits on this frame matters. If I grab onto these pipes, which aren't very thick, all they're designed to do is place the exhaust of the motor outside, furthest from the motor it possibly can, so you're not breathing it in, because that's deadly. And then I'm creating a single anchor point that all of the weight on this side will all come to this anchor point right here. If this single anchor point on the forks has 2 anchor points on the frame, because it's pulling from those 2 sides, and then when this goes to pull, how balanced out what is effectively a triangle. I know it doesn't look like a triangle, but it does create 3 points, so it'll automatically, when the chain is tightened, create relatively a triangle. To have a table set up that's can be set anywhere, you need 3, not 4 legs. If you have 3 legs, it can have an uneven surface and still find it can be secured. I didn't say balanced, I didn't say perfect, it can be secure in the fact that it's solid and not wobbly. When you add that 4th leg is when you need micro adjustments and a pretty flat surface. This is neither of those. So on this other side, to make it so that it's not fighting itself, I'm going to have a single anchor point. I don't know if I should do a single or I should do a double. Let's test my assumptions. Let's do the same thing on this side. Interesting. Okay, so now on this side, I didn't go around all the way the same way because these exhaust pipes are hanging in the line of sight that would happen. Not line of sight, but the line of where the chain's gonna hit, and which means that once it's under tension, it will could damage it. Which maybe you think why does that matter? Well, the goal with this was to either sell it or to use it in a restoration project of a truck. So I don't want to damage things unnecessarily, right? So that is on there. I'll have to push that with something else. Now, the other consideration that I have with this is much heavier. So I should have grabbed further over because that's heavier and it's going to be disproportionate. So we're going to see that. I'm also going to see if I can shift the forks that way to make that work as far as balance goes. But let's see what we got. I'm getting hotter. What time we're at? Okay. Still not starting. Okay, so I'm trying to lift this up, but because I've placed my anchor points in the wrong place, then it isn't going to pick it up because the weight, where I have decided to lift, the weight to the west of me, which is to my left, your right, is heavier than the rest of the mass. So now I have to set this down and re-anchor. Okay, the funny thing about this is that the opposite can happen. You can count on the heavier side too much, and when that happens, it'll go the other way. I don't know if that's what's going to happen in this instance, but I do need to change where the forks are at to lift this up so it doesn't wobble big time when the Hello, sir. Yeah, if you want to try, I know that we're going to need this to pick it up. We're not going to be able to pick that up normal. So,
Another wheelie.
yeah, big old wheelie's going to happen with that. The truck that picks this up will have the same problem. The mass of this dumpster and everything in it was greater than the mass of the truck. And because the anchor point and the lift point is lower, it takes significantly more power to lift it. So we'll use this thing, this forklift, to lift it. Ooh, I don't know if I have enough chain to do the thing it needs to do. All right. Oh, come on. Bummer. Actually, can you fire it up and just lower?
I can.
Here, all right, I'll lower. Okay, then I'll lower.
How do you want to attach it?
I just want it to attach right back up onto that.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Oh, man.
How close is it? Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can just lower and. Clear. Clear. Is it going? Is the pipes making it go higher or lower? Would it be better to go underneath them? Will that give the extra distance? Just attach it to anything and I'll just lift it up and move it. And then set it back down and then we'll have better anchoring points. It just needs to, yeah, to be tight. That'll work. Okay, we're in. Up, up. Ah! You want to move that block of wood back? Actually, yeah, move it this way. Too far? Back a little. Yeah, that'll work. All right, let's talk about test assumptions. What just happened is we set the weight down onto that 4x6 and it snapped. Could it be because it's weathered? Could it be that it never was able to handle that much weight? Possibly both. So if we want to set this on top of that, we're going to need something that has a significantly higher strength. What do you say we get that curled I-beam? No, those are not those ones, but yeah, we might have to come back for the... I know the I-beam that I could just go hop in the skid real quick and grab it, set it on. Let's do that. I'm gonna do this super quick. All right. Ugh. Oliver, see how the triangle is like not dead center on that other chain? I'm gonna lift it up and then set it down. I need you to center that triangle to make it so that when it's pulling, it's not twisted. It'll make it much nicer to set down. See how that far triangle is twisted? The anchor point's pulling from this side. The chain needs to be let loose, and then move the links so that it's centered.
Center.
Yeah, center of the frame, not center of the. Yep. Okay. All right. Yes, I do, but I want, I maybe want to tack weld that I-beam so when we put the other frame on top of that frame, it don't go nowhere. Because like in putting it there, I moved it over 8 inches, and if it moved over another 8 inches, it will not,
Go down.
yeah, and that would suck. So, so either we, yeah, like, I don't know, we could do a clamp, but my thought is just like, I mean, a clamp would work. That's so redneck to do a clamp. Maybe it's redneck to do a weld too, but just a tack weld on either side of that I-beam, so just prevent it from going anywhere. I gotta park this and then I gotta leave, so.
Self-tapping screw.
You ain't getting a self-tapping screw through an I-beam. It's gonna shear. All right, so that's it for today's adventures of lot organization.